Okay, so yeah, this is probably a bit of a shocker here. Yeah, you were expecting an Ampharos. Sorry, you got a Totodile. Ha! There's a small mystery dungeon joke there. Uh, so Amphi wasn't able to get the upload, and I asked if I could cover. She said it was fine. Here we are. This is not this is not her top 10. This is my personal top 10. And yes, this video does contain quite a bit of spoilers. So if you're not up to those, then I best recommend that you play the games and not bother with this video until you're done, because some of the games I'm talking about are pretty fun to play blind. But without further ado, let's get right into this top 10 list. Number 10. So at number 10, you're probably familiar with some of the low graphic games, and that the developers make it somewhat challenging. I'm At least that's just my perspective of it. But there is one game that in particular that really likes to help you out there, and Cave Story is one of them. If anyone's played the game who's watching this video, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Balrog is funny. Yeah, the first boss in this list is the first boss from Cave Story. A boss in which you get a choice to just straight up skip the battle. The first time I did this, I wasn't sure what to expect and ended up sitting there more confused than ever. I mean, that's just Balrog. Pops in through the door and asks if you want to fight. You can say no and he leaves. Best boss ever. Number 9. So, why do you like to play video games? Now, I get that question quite a bit. And my answer to that is I like to play games for the adventure, the combat, and on top of that, the amazingly made bosses. So when I first played Terraria, I was super excited for a boss fight. And, well, yeah, I kinda got wrecked. I was low geared. I just wanted to go straight to the boss fights. And yeah, I got sweeped. So, no, sorry, this spot is not for the Moon Lord. No. That's that boss. If you've put in enough time that I have into the game, the Moonlord doesn't really have as much wow, amazing to it anymore. It's an end game boss, and when you get to end game, you kind of you farm it out, and it's just no longer fun to fight. But there was one boss that just, no matter how many times I've restarted my Terraria runs, or no matter how many times I've restarted worlds and characters and everything, somehow the Eater of Worlds is still interesting. Now, the reason I chose this boss is because I like to put myself in the character's shoes. And if you were to do that, just imagine, you're in the corruption, broke some glowing orbs, cool. You got probably a Vile Thorn and a musket. Great. But then, oh, look at that, there's a huge worm. there that is trying to kill everything. Seems like a good time. No, it's not. But that doesn't sound too bad. But think about it like the gear that you have around that time, like the best gear you could possibly have is gold or platinum armor, which sorry, I don't have the wiki up right now, but it doesn't give too much armor. Like, it's a fairly low grade armor. It's the highest tier armor that you can have at that point, but it is still, in the long run, fairly low grade armor. And the best weapons you can have is a Vilethorn, which is beautiful, but if you're not playing mage, is partially useless. And same goes for the musket if you're not a ranger. If you're warrior, you're kind of stuck with the ball of hurt, which doesn't, if you're not too good with flail items, isn't too great of an item. And it's, in my opinion, it's kind of difficult to use flail items. Mostly just because I stick with mage or ranger. Yeah, but it's still, in the end, it's a nice, it's a great boss. I'm glad it's in the game, and it's a really fun boss to fight every time I start new playthroughs. And I always look forward to fighting this boss. Number 8. So when you play a platformer, what's the first thing you think of? For some, I don't think the difficulty would be one. So this isn't the case for good old Meat Boy here now, is it? Yeah, I was gonna give this spot to Brownie, but something didn't seem right there. I took another look and said, yeah, no, there's something definitely harder here. Littlehorn is that boss. And now, I mean, Littlehorn isn't that difficult, but at the same time, it's impossible. It's not possible to go in blind and beat it on your first try, unless you're really lucky and have, like, I don't even know, like, really high reaction time. Like, it's not too easy, but at the same time, very difficult. The reason that I'm saying this is because he has the same attack pattern. So you can just trial and error the boss and finish. It's easy enough. Now, the reason it does this is it says the game is difficult. You're gonna have to deal with this. I mean, I'm not sure why they put this halfway through the game, but it would be a better idea for putting that as a first world boss, because it's saying this game is going to be difficult and you're gonna have to deal with that. There's nothing you can do. And that's why I like this boss. It's not, I mean, it is very difficult, and yeah, you just memorize the attack patterns, and it's not that hard of a fight. Number 7. 2 words. Cackleta's Soul. Oh boy. Where do I begin with this boss? This is a great boss fight, and it's an amazing end to Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. The boss fight starts with fighting Bowletta and getting a scripted loss. This was a little odd when I played the game because you're not supposed to lose. Throughout the whole game, you shouldn't lose the fight, or, well, you lose. But I didn't know that this was a scripted loss. So yeah, the internet wasn't a great thing back then. So, like, there wasn't too much on there. So I wouldn't have possibly known that it was scripted. I won't get into, yeah, I wouldn't get into, the spoiler stuff. so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But the fight starts with Mario and Luigi getting back up at 1 health. So that's a little concerning, because 1 hit, you're dead. If any of their speed is below 120, Cackletta goes first, because her speed is 120. So you won't get a chance to heal before an attack. And it's fairly interesting how that happens, where you don't get to see what happens in the long run, and it would be very interesting to see what happened if someone actually invested everything into speed or attack or defense. And the poor souls who invested everything into HP. But yeah, it's a fairly interesting boss fight, and it was very satisfying to beat. Number 6. Oh boy, we playing some Starbound? Let's do this. So this boss needs no introduction, but I'll give her one anyway. Astronox is an amazing boss fight. Almost like Littlehorn, if you mess up the fight, it's okay, but unlike Littlehorn, you don't die instantly and have to start over. I like this boss because you don't see her too much in the main story. Like, you don't see her once or twice, but 3 times. And that might not sound like a lot, but remember, this game only has about 7 bosses in the main story, which means Nox is in there for about half the story. And not only that, but if you try hard enough and find Nox's journal, which is quite a chore, it'll talk about her old teacher Esther, and about how Esther was unable to see the truth about the cult in the ruin, and that the ruin is the answer, but no, it isn't. It destroys everything, and that is the final boss of the game. Sorry about that for spoilers, but still, I gave a warning. You should play Starbound, it's great. And Astronox is definitely an amazing boss. Number 5. Oh, hey look, space pirates. Oh, wait, that's not a good thing. Sound the alarms and get bustin' out of here. Okay, I like the Legendary Starfy, and so should you. It's a very nice game, and I'm not sure why a lot of people don't know about it. My favorite boss from this game has to be Mashtooth, the space pirate captain. This boss fight was really enjoyable, and the second half even has, like, it has a piece of story. It has a piece of lore in between the 2 halves of the boss fight. I don't think I've really seen too many games that have done that. But the first part of the fight is fairly simple if you can manage to hit him. But so let's see. He charges, that's fine. You can take him out easily with a couple well-timed shooting stars. If you don't manage to do that, it's fine. I mean, it's not the end of the world, you can keep attacking him anyway. There are other attacks like his lightning and the snoof, and that's really funny. It's a really interesting fight, and the first half of the fight, it ends with everybody celebrating, and it's really, it's really happy and everything, and everyone's all happy, you finished the game, you beat the boss. Oh wait, you celebrated too early, good job. Mashtooth gets up, takes Bustin's power, which throughout the game you've been gifted with, to transform into different forms such as the monster, the Starpedo, the Roostar, and the Starfright. But this is no longer the case because now this power is being used against you. And that's kind of scary combined with the everywhere music playing in the background. It's still a fun fight, and I come back to the game every so often just to fight that boss again. Number 4. Hey, Eslo, can you help me with this map? I can't seem to read it. Yeah, I'm doing a Minish Cap boss. Let's get going with it. A green choo-choo. Yep, that is a boss.
But an enemy can't be a common enemy can't be a boss.
Yeah, that's true, but remember, some people have not played Minish Cap, and a green choo-choo is fairly easy to kill, but not when it's about a quarter of the size of the room. Yeah, the first boss from Minish Cap, the green choo-choo, is, I mean, it's not difficult. It's just surprising because it's not going to be so easy to take it down. You're going to need to grab the ever so handy dandy Gust Jar that Link just obtained and take out the stability of the choo-choo, I guess it's what it's called. I'm not even sure what that's called. And eventually it'll collapse on it in its own weight. And that's when you start slashing at it. I mean, it's not too, like, it's really not difficult. There's nothing difficult about the fight. It's just, it's really interesting how this common enemy was made into a boss. Number 3. No, get out of here, Nosk. You're easier than the False Knight. Sorry, Hive Knight. I like your battle cry, but that won't seem to cut it. Yeah, that could work. Okay, let's see where to begin with this boss. When I first played Hollow Knight, it was the best game I ever played, and it still is, but when I got to the Mantis Lords, I found a whole new love for the game. The Mantis Lords were a group of 3, in which one would start attacking. When the first was defeated, the other 2 would start. The boss fight is very unique, but then there was the Gods and Nightmares DLC. Hey, wow, look at that. The Mantis Lords are now all fighting me at once. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's right. The now renamed Sisters of Battle, when rematched, will, instead of the other 2 fighting, the first will now get back up and fight alongside the other 2. Now, the second half of the Mantis Lords fight is, in my opinion, difficult, because once one is done attacking, the other is already starting. The Sisters of Battle, though, is you don't get a break. Ever. You have to be able to deal damage on the fly. And, I mean, for some that would be easy, for others that's difficult. I mean, yeah. It's still, it's a really fun boss fight, and I do like it. It's, I mean, at least it's more inventive than old good old Nosk. Number 2. Okay, if anyone with an N64 has played this game, good on you. And I think you might know this one because it was a nightmare of a boss to defeat. And you'll probably know what I'm talking about. Miracle Matter. Yes, Miracle Matter is it was difficult. So Miracle Matter works like this. There's a form, and Kirby has to copy it to deal damage. Seems pretty simple, right? Wrong. This boss only takes damage from the same ability. And to top that, it would change abilities throughout the fight before you could even land a hit. Talk about difficult. Number 1. Well, you did it. You traveled through the Hidden Land, rode the Rainbow Stone Ship, and scaled Temporal Tower. Now, there's only one challenge left. Dialga's boss fight was the best fight I have ever had. And for a good reason too. When I played Explorers of Darkness, I just happened to have all the right items, and it was kind of a letdown. But when I played Explorers of Time, however, I wasn't as fortunate with the items, and I got the fight I deserved. This boss battle is definitely an endurance fight. If you, it's kind of those fights that are like, did you bring enough orange berries? No? Oh, great, then your team is most likely dead in about 3 turns. But after the boss fight, you place the time gears in, save Temporal Tower, but now it's the end. The timeline that you're from is no longer there anymore. Which means neither will you. And it's a very sad ending to the game, and even no matter how many times I've replayed through the Explorer games, I would still get really choked up about the end, because some people don't like to play the Explorer games or any Mystery Dungeon game for the dialogue, and I can, that's fine, but the dialogue is what bonds you with, it gives you an emotional bond with all the characters, and it lets you really feel how they're feeling, and it gives the personal message that it sent to me. Mostly, I don't entirely know what the message is, but the message I saw in it was, in the end, the treasure isn't what's there, it's about the friends you made along the way. It's... oh my god. I get choked up thinking about it. It's a really nice game, and it's really sad to see the fact that it's kind of right that sometimes even the best of friends will take the left path while you take the right. Sometimes 2 people probably may never see each other again, and it's kind of a sad thing to think about. But it's a great game. It has good messages, and the final boss fight is absolutely amazing. Alrighty, so this has been my top 10 list of bosses in video games. I have hoped you enjoyed. Amphi should be back on Thursday with the normal schedule. If you did like this stuff, you should leave a like. It would, it'd be pretty cool. And you should probably put in the comments, and Amphi might make a list of her own. So, yeah. But, anyway, it was fun filling in. Amphi was unable to record, so I thought, hey, I might give it a try. I mean, I'm just the editor, so I don't think it would have been a good idea to do this, but still, it was a lot of fun. Well, I guess that's probably it for me.